pressed it. Let's see. Waiting for YouTube to recognize it. It says that we're connected. I'm just waiting for that photo to
Oh yeah,
pop
we're
up.
going live.
Yeah.
Are we
What the
live?
hell?
Yep. And we're
We
live.
All right. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the March 2022 podcast for Outpost 1018. I am your host, Neo Tokyo Tempo. Everyone else introduce yourselves.
I am.
Echo here.
I am Josh or Getsuryu.
So this Neko did his piece. This is Lewis or Striker.
All right. So for this month, we watched my
My Dressup
my dress up darling. I just forgot what show we watched for a second. Anyway, and my dress up darling is a show about a relatively socially awkward young man who his grandfather runs a shop that makes some sort of Japanese doll that I'm not entirely familiar with, but
they're
what? Yeah,
called
what's
Hina dolls.
Hina dolls? Thank you. And he has the dream of being a master Hina doll maker, but he has anxieties about his passion, and he thinks other people will think it's stupid or not like him because of it. So he doesn't have any friends at school until one day he runs into a girl named Kitagawa Marine,
Marin.
and she finds out he knows how to make clothing, and asks him to make cosplay outfits for him or for her. And that's the basic premise of the show. So we're just going to go right into the animation. What do you guys think of the animation?
I mean, I enjoyed many of the animation choices they made.
Yeah, I especially
Indeed.
like how they animated the plot.
Oh, there's a great plot here. I mean,
Yes, very, very, very much so.
you know, they put that plot in pretty nice cups. So tight indeed. You can see a little sweat perking up.
From the plot.
Yes, from the plot, and it literally makes a cup so you can drink from it. The other plot is you can
Have you been
actually wrap
drinking
it
from
around.
those cups?
Oh, I would.
Oh yeah, I was wondering how you knew. But yeah, they I think a lot of the show's presentation really goes into the design and animation of Kitagawa, and it's and as a result, she definitely has a very striking look about her. She has these sort of pinkish eyes and bright blonde hair, and she definitely stands out from the rest of the cast. And other character designs in the show look a little bit more muted. They're not like bad character designs or anything, but other characters look a lot more average than
And Marin.
yeah. But it's also it's also notable that the animation quality seems to, at least from what I remember, seems to increase whenever they're focusing on Marine.
Well, yeah, but It also does decrease a lot when it's like third party characters. Essentially, there's I think it's the last or like episode 10 or something where they in a cafe, and one of the purple no, pink hair girls, what's her name? It's the sister
Uh,
of the
uh,
Inoue. Um,
Shinju Inui. Hold on.
Shinju Inui, yeah. So her hands are literally flat. It's literally flat. It's just showing like MS Paint. So yeah, it fluctuates the quality a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another thing, and like we've had shows animate like fake shows before. Um, and anytime they were watching an anime or like watching something from another material, like different source material that would be canon for that show, but not, whatever. Um, it seemed like their trick to make the distinction different was to like just downgrade the animation quality and just make it look like crap. Like whenever they were doing the Magical Girl show, like it looked like a really really bad version of like so many others. And I remember like they did like this giant scene about it, and they're like trying to like get you to see like how he would do it, and I was like, I could care less about this show. Like I know that this is going to be zero plot for anything. I know that this isn't going to be important at all, and this
Is it
animation is bad.
really
This audio is
zero
bad.
plot though?
In the Magical Girl
Well,
show,
No, but
well, I mean, there's a
that's what I
zero
was
plot for
saying.
one
Well,
character.
that's why I zoned out because that was
no, but remember, there's two types of plot in this show.
yeah, I know, but and that cut two had neither of them.
Oh yeah,
Well,
they had
Yeah,
more
yeah.
plot
See,
in the what's it called? Those hentai games that
yeah,
they were
oh
playing.
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, whenever it was like there was a lot of relatable moments, but like that was just it was so dry that like I just did not care, and I knew that it was not going to be important in like 20 seconds anyway. So that like it seems like they cut like a lot of budget in a lot of places.
Well, if you consider was in charge of the animation, which was A1 and CloverWorks, well, let's just say that people have been cautiously optimistic about any show made by CloverWorks after Return from Promise Neverland, especially season 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that that makes sense. But I don't know. I think overall, like there's definitely big fluctuations in quality, but I think overall, besides like whenever they're like watching a show within a show, the animation quality is never like bad or anything. I think it's like up to standard with anything else.
Yeah, yeah. Like the main show parts were just very standard, like very cookie cutter from everything else. Um, that's why I started like at least me personally, like I started judging shows off of like what the side stuff looks like, what a lot of the stuff that isn't as important looks like. So whenever they're animating like a different show, they're showing like a video game that was in the background, like you can tell where they're skimping or whenever they actually care about something. And for them to do that long of an animation and it to be that low quality and that bad, that's whenever I felt like, okay, like even the
What about
animators don't
the
feel like they care at that point.
What about that one part where where Wakana, Gojo, and Marin start watching that one horror movie that looks like The Walking Dead?
Yeah, but it looks like crap.
Yeah, it looked terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they try to emulate like um sort of Western style of how films look. So it's more actiony. It's more like smeared out and stuff. So it kind of makes, because remember all of the shows that they have inside of that show, inside of this anime, they all have a distinct look. Like what is it, Saint Slippery Academy for Girls?
Yeah,
That looks very different from like Black Labelia,
Hmm.
and it looks very different from Prison. What is it, Veronica?
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is
Yeah,
amazing.
they
They should
all
have done cosplay for that.
yeah.
Um,
They did do like a lot of different styles, but whenever like it, it's like anything else. If you can do one style well, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a good artist. It just means that you can do that one style well.
yeah,
So whenever we're looking at 4 different styles that they do through the show, yes, they're very distinct, but at least 2 of them were terrible. And like that's the issue is like they could have done those just a little bit better, a little bit more crisp. And and I mean there's other ways around it. Like I mean they said the like slasher movie was a like a B movie. It was supposed to be bad. She like they even showed on the screen that it was like a 5.9 out of 10 whenever they were loading it up. Um and they could have easily said that like the magical girl one was from like the 80s or something and it was older. Like if they would have made those distinctions a little bit better, I think that it's a little bit more excusable. But like still you're animating something, you can do a little bit better of a job.
Yeah. Well, like going off what you said earlier about like you can tell like what kind of things they cared or didn't care about. Um, what's very clear is that they really really wanted you to care about Marion because almost any shot that I can think of that she's in, um, she's extremely well animated.
I mean she's a focus of the show, so it's
Yeah,
kind of But you gotta also understand this is not only about her, being uh, like a plot or something, because it's not about the show, about the dude. It's about her really. So, and her relationship with like cosplay and basically, it's not a spoiler, but falling in love with the Vakana.
yeah,
Uh, so it's like you know that kind of makes sense. Also, it's written by a woman, so it's you know kind of
yeah.
makes sense.
Hey, speaking of 80s, can I talk about how the credit sequence looks like something straight from Rama and a Half and Urusei Yatsura for a
Oh
moment?
yeah,
At least in the sense of it looked more like a throwback to those kind of shows. And I thought, man, that's
you know
not bad.
that offers me a good segue to go into the sound design because I actually kind of liked the ending theme this time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a banger.
I it kind of sounded like some of the like independent like band camp music that you might run into. Um, it kind of sounded a bit like maybe Timid Soul or Snail's House or something like that.
Hmm.
It had that had that sort of chip tuney sort of aesthetic to it. Wasn't like chip tune, but it had like a couple of those little instruments in it. And it also had sort of a sort of that what do you call it? The oh yeah, the those sort of like kick drums under it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um
It
and I quite liked it. It was pretty good.
yeah, it very both the opening and the closing songs, and like this has been a while since we've had this happen, fit the show. Like we have so many like where it's just like, oh, here's a popular band in Japan right now. They're gonna write a song for this show, and like unless it's like a dark horror and they got like a metal band, like it's like so many times, like how many times, like was it Promise Neverland, whenever like it was like this like horror and then just all of a sudden it was just like this like nice light music at the end and you're like thrown completely out
Yeah.
of it. Yeah,
Oh,
like there's been so many moments of that we've had recently, and it just feels like this, as much as the show is gonna have its faults and we'll get there, um this show was very much for the people that enjoy cosplay and enjoy the space. So
Yeah.
there is a lot that we're going to harp on, but it really does feel like they knew the target audience and they actually found bands that kind of fit that target audience this time too, that fit the theme of the show, that fit. And whenever you think of those songs, there's a lot of songs where you're like, man, I know this anime opening. It's from one of these ones. Like you're gonna hear it and you're gonna be like, yeah, that's my Dress Up Darling. Like you know it because it fit so well.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, the chick who's saying the ending thing, Kari Akasa, is also a cosplayer.
Yeah.
So when Josh was saying that not only is the mangaka a cosplayer herself, but also the singer for the ending theme, they know who they were targeting.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, and this we can go use a little bit in the voice acting. The English voice actor for I can't remember her name, the main girl, was like she's a YouTuber. She streams.
yeah,
She
Emily.
mostly is she's mostly known for covering anime songs, like, and you know that's her thing. So to have her in the space for us, like this, like it'd be cooler if maybe they got like a famous cosplayer to do the voice instead. Like, I mean, like, be a long shot, but like Jessica Nigri would be like
wait,
perfect for this kind of thing.
Why would one?
wait. You mean like Linda Lee, that chick?
Emily.
That,
Emily.
huh?
Yeah.
No, it says Lee Amanda. Amanda
Yeah,
Lee, whatever.
yeah, Amanda Lee. She's also known as Monarch or multiple. She's not.
I don't
not
care. She sucks.
Leon Lee. Leon Lee, not the other Amanda Lee, the one that's batshit insane.
They both are.
Either way, they got someone
Hot
from
take, I know.
from the space,
Yeah.
and like it would be cooler maybe if they got a cosplayer to play her, but
Uh,
they're at least sourcing from the spaces at this point, especially for a show that's basically about like what it's like to be a fan.
She was in the English dub of Kimono Friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
She is not in many things.
I
Interesting
mean, she's in
enough,
a lot of things.
Wait, hold on.
God damn it.
Yeah. So
contrary to her Japanese voice actress Hina Subuta, who is famous for only one role so far, and it's Toko Kirigaya in Bandori or Band Dream,
Mhm.
and being a singer for the band Morphonica. As a matter of fact, this is actually her breakout role
Yeah.
and what I found interesting was the fact that the guy who played Gojo-kun also actually commissioned and made a replica of Shizuku Ten's outfit for Hina herself, with the help of a couple of cosplayers. Which I honestly thought, that's dedication to the fucking craft.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you can't do that, I mean, I actually I sort of relate because my mother's a seamstress herself. So, but we'll talk about that regarding Gojo. Right now, we're talking about the voice actors. And speaking of Gojo-kun, let's see. There was a guy. The guy's English voice actor is also a new guy. His name is Paul Date.
Yeah. He's
You-
like he was trying to just get in like every type of space, and like I think for being a fairly newcomer to the um voice
The
acting
voice
space, he
act.
did a pretty good job. Obviously, like, the Japanese voice is always going to be better, but like it seems like the English dub is slowly catching up. Like the dub
The
actors, like they're finally
this
getting like 3 people.
Mao is not
It doesn't not show the guy though,
yeah
Oh no,
Mao doesn't
yeah, I
even
know.
list the
Yeah, I know. You have to actually like research these. Um,
because nobody cares.
The
eh,
same goes
some
with
people do.
the same would well with
mean,
Shoya
why?
Ishige. Oh, I see how it is.
Here's the thing: who's adapting that show? Who's a licensee? Funimation?
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck them.
yeah.
That's why I don't care. I'm sorry. Um, so
Wait,
yeah,
here. Man. Do we even want to talk about that? How we don't know what's gonna happen with Funimation right now?
Uh,
no, because it has
they
nothing to do with the
Exactly.
show.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's not even touch that.
Anyway,
with all due respect to Shoya Ishige for doing that gesture, the man has earned a lot of respect from me. Not only because of voice, no, considering how nailing how socially awkward Gojo-kun is, but also that little detail to his co-worker. Anyways, we got a couple more, but the show mostly focuses on Marin and Marin and Go and Wakana. Must have gone Gojo because that's actually she doesn't really call him by his first name. She mostly calls him by their last name. So I would say Gojo-kun.
Yeah.
The same would go with Shinju and Sajuna Inui, but let's see. Risa May, who is that? That's the chick who plays Sajuna Inui in the English dub. Do you happen to know her, Josh?
Wait, who? Which one?
Risa May.
Risa May. I did research on all of them, like, really quick. Let me make sure. Oh, she's known for like Impact, Gushin Impact. Yeah, like, so like she's a new breakout one. She hasn't really done too much. I think, like, yeah, like she just started like last year.
Oh, she's Kokomi's voice actress in the English dub. Oh, okay.
Let's see, her earliest thing listed on Mao is from spring 2020, and that's how do I pronounce this?
Kaku, yeah.
Kaku Shigoto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she was in By the Grace of the Gods. So yeah, like, there's been a lot of new voice actors that are like slowly getting into the space.
okay.
And I think we're actually getting better voice actors because of it. As bad as that sounds. It seems like in English anyway, like,
Sure.
it's better than
course.
it's better than what we've had for the past 10 years.
I know that I know. Isn't Jack Saxton a veteran regarding Shinju's voice actors?
Yes. So if you look at how they're doing the formula for all of the shows now, and this is just kind of a side tangent, you're gonna see at least 1 or 2 veterans on any voice acting group, and then you're gonna see a bunch of like no names right now because they're trying to get new people in, because there's a lot of people retiring. There was a lot of people that were out of work because of COVID, so like they're like, oh my god, if you get sick and then you can't do anything, like, they freaked out, so they just started hiring nonstop with all these voice actors, just trying to test them out. And then we're filtering all the bad ones out and getting all the good ones, and that's why I'm saying, like, slowly we're getting better voice actors right now
For next 5 years.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then we're gonna come back to the same shit.
Yeah, it's better than having fucking like Tatum in every fucking anime. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, so I mean,
but they still suck. I'm sorry.
It's still, like,
by comparison.
I'll take it.
Interesting enough, this is also
Okay.
another voice actor's breakout role regarding Sajuna's little sister, well, little quote unquote. Hina Yumiya is also a newcomer to that voice actor scene in Japan, at least since 2020.
Yeah.
And this is actually her breakout role.
Yeah, there's been a kind of close to the same thing in Japan too, because they've been having a lot of voice actors retire too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on that segue, where should we go? Characters or
Yeah, characters. Yeah, I guess I guess the main two characters are Gojo and Kitagawa. So let's talk about Gojo first.
what can I go, Joe?
The return of normal high school Japanese boys in anime, finally, that have no spine, but they really into one specific hobby.
You mean the socially autistic main character? I haven't seen that shit in a while though.
Oh God.
yeah, it's been a while. It's
I kind of
Yeah.
I kind of prefer the slightly awkward Japanese high school boy that has at least some sort of a spine, like in Haruhi.
no, we're talking about cosplay. Guys have to have zero spine.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I mean, look, he is a main character here, but in actual original manga, he's like a second. Because
Secondary.
well, he's not secondary. He's a main guy, but he's like a the main is Marin, obviously.
Yeah,
So
you're roboting just a little bit.
my bad.
Yeah, Gojo is about what you would stereotypically expect out of a young socially awkward teenager. He's 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 skinny. Got he's got some very specific niche things that he's into. And he isn't very good at making friends or holding conversations, especially in the beginning of the show.
We'll get into this with the plot, but I actually thought that he had really good character development compared to like a lot of the other characters that we've covered recently. And like watching him slowly come out of his shell was really good. It there was like it's so funny that like she's like, let's take you shopping, and then he was trying like they were trying to like get him into different clothing, and he was just like, none of this fits me. Like he knows what he likes at least, and he knows what he's comfortable with, and he at least is willing to stay in his comfort zone and not like just bend over to someone else for those reasons, and like that was good.
Yeah, and he definitely has like a genuine passion for the things that he does like doing.
Mhm.
Even to the point where it 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 would actually kind of seem really odd to outsiders, like when he tells the Hina doll that he made good night before he sleeps.
Yeah. It's really interesting because with like he has the passion of like making Hina dolls, which means that he has to know like so many very unique, really important things to be at the highest level. Where it's like you have to understand how like if he was doing the hair off of it, you'd have to understand how wigs work and how the fibers work for wigs. You'd have to know how to do like all the painting in like that small of a detail. You'd have to be able to like have such a steady hand. You'd be able to fabricate different clothing and be able to sew like extremely well. So like all of those little small traits he's practicing on like these tiny dolls where it's like you have to be perfect, and like he's just been training that over and over and over again. So it's very interesting like how that translates whenever he starts doing other things, realizing that like his one skill that he's been like trying to hone in is actually just a multitude of many different things, and that was also interesting to see.
Well, his grandpa actually owns the shop where they sell those dolls. And those dolls are for like, you know, for the marriages and some other stuff, really. So it's like,
Marriage, also Girls' Day in Japan, which is it's been a traditional thing since the Edo period.
hmm yeah. So it's basically like candles, almost. But interesting thing is like his name is translated as fresh, new, and vegetable and green, which kind of
What?
suitable. Yep. No,
Yeah.
Wakana. That's what it is. And surname is Gojo, so it's like 5 articles.
Mm-hmm.
Because 5 an article.
Since your harmony, I'm bringing from one of those bullshit ass name your baby website. Sorry, this is usually a female name. What the hell?
Well,
Wakana.
mean,
Whoa.
well, it's been written by a woman, so
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's. By the way, it's a good thing that we at least have different names, not, unlike it's some other stupid names from Dragon Ball Z or something.
yeah, Shinji,
Oh
Shinsuke,
gosh.
and God knows what else. Your typical regular ass
Shinji.
Japanese common names.
Shinji, get on the Hina doll. But
Alright.
yeah, he's a fun character actually. At least I found him to be. Like might be like a dorky little guy, but he um he's really trying to get to the bottom of like every single schematics that he have been given. And also he because we gotta understand, in the show they don't like she doesn't give him like drawing of whatever clothing he needs to do. It's like he watches the show that Maureen gives him, and then from there he's just drawing that thing on the paper and sewing all that stuff. That is one of the aspects of cosplay that a lot of people do not understand at all. That unless it's like Square Enix and all of some companies there, you have to actually transcribe the show to the paper and then sewing machine.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thing, and it shows that he can actually do it. And they show that all the time, like pretty much every single episode there.
Yeah, like
Oh.
actually drawing everything out, drawing out all the schematics,
Yeah, and
drawing
it's
out
it's
the
really
yeah,
really hard to do.
yeah.
Also the deadlines themselves for Hina Matsuri, which is the also known as Dolls Day in Japan. That's actually where those Hina dolls are made of. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna cut it short on that one. The male is the emperor, and the female that Wakana always constantly practices happens to be the empress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the attendants, musicians, and in traditional court dress of the Heian period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it happens every March the 3rd in Japan. It's actually a religious holiday. Okay, anyway, Gojo-kun actually have similar issues. Is our work going to be good enough for the customer? Is the deadline I'm going to be reaching the one I set myself forward to? The thing is, I do something else different to Gojo-kun, which is automotive illustration. And I have to work at least 1 month, or at least to set myself a deadline, to get every detail from the lines to the inking to just about everything. And then see if the customer will and then see if it will actually be up to the commissioner's standards, which we are. What I found in Wakana-san is that we actually have different tastes, but we actually have a single common goal, which is basically to hone a crack, to hone it, to at least perfect it. And
Yeah,
and
he is very relatable to a lot of people, especially whenever it came to like the deadlines, to like whenever it came to how he acted, how he wanted every single detail like as perfect as possible, how he drew everything out, and then making sure that the people that he was working with like were extremely happy with his work. And while they were like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, how did you do this?" He's over here like, "Yeah, I could have done this better, this better, this better. Oh, I didn't even think of this. This I'm gonna have to like think about next time. Oh yeah, like it has to be movable. Oh, it has to be like you're gonna be actually wearing it rather than it being on a doll. Like, and he's going through the process of figuring everything out. So I think that, like I said, like he actually is like the most evolving character in the show.
Yeah.
But we'll get
And
there.
there's definitely and there is definitely some relatability, especially when he's dealing with tons of stress. Like when there's like 5 or 6 things happening that all have deadlines at the same time,
Mhm.
um, or something like that. He
Yeah.
he ends up he ends up getting completely overwhelmed,
Mhm.
but ends up like not totally cracking
Yeah.
under pressure and actually manages to get all the things done anyway.
We'll get to that whenever we get to the plot. But like that was, yeah, that was very relatable. I think he's a very well written character compared to like, yeah, like he's well written and relatable to a lot of people, and I
Uh,
think that worked really well for the show, especially
Yeah,
since we're talking about a nerdy guy that is doing everything for a cosplayer. Hmm, odd, very relatable for the audience.
yeah. Let's move on to uh, Kitagawa, because that is the second half of this dress up darling coin. Um,
Mm-hmm.
It's a bulging
Kitagawa
coin.
Kitagawa is sort of the opposite of Gojo. She is very confident. She is very active socially. Um, she has she also has somewhat more. She also has like these specific things that she's into, and possibly even more embarrassing things. Uh, but she's has zero shame about them. She doesn't care if people don't like them, or at least she appears not to, because she'll talk about it openly.
The,
Um,
I'm just gonna throw that in there. She is very much open about it. And there was a guy that like it was like the first episode. The guy like made fun of her for like watching it, like, oh, you like that kind of stuff too, and she's like, don't you make fun of it. I don't even want to talk to you anymore if you're gonna act and like
yeah,
say all
yeah,
that stuff. Like she is so open about like, yeah, no, this is what I like. You're not gonna insult me for it. Like she is
yeah,
so confident with it that like she's like, I do not care.
yeah,
Come at me.
and
So like she'll tell anyone off. Like yeah.
yeah. She'll like
So
put
yeah,
her foot down.
she did yeah. So like whenever you're like, ah, she might no, just 100%. She just does not care.
Yeah, and she gets excited fairly easily, and ends up acting accordingly, and definitely showing just how excited she is. She has very striking features. We've talked about her plot. We've talked about
Her assets.
yeah,
mhm.
her assets. She's a very like one of the more attractive anime girls I've seen. And she has those striking pinkish reddish eyes.
What, you're
with
calling her
quite
attractive, but she's only 15.
Well, I mean, she's like,
Oh,
I don't know if you saw that controversy too.
uh
who? It's
it
Japan.
happens
Who cares?
it happens every time there's an
I know.
attractive anime girl.
Yeah, I know.
It even happens when the anime girl is over the age of 18.
Yep.
Like there was that Sugoi Deki or
uh,
Sugoi Dekai girl.
uh,
I
uh,
think she was in college or something.
Yeah.
Usaki-chan, Hina Usaki, or from Usaki-chan.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Usaki-chan. Yeah.
How can you like her? She's in college, even though she has a child's face. Like, what?
What does that
It's
even
always
mean?
yeah. It's so fucking.
It's like these people never heard of short stack girls because she's actually short stacking her body type.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
Uh,
Just yeah. There's two big controversies with the show. That was one of them, and I think we actually have to address the controversies after we
Yeah.
get to the
Second
plot.
one, yeah, okay.
The tanning one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
we'll address
I
the
have
other one too. But yeah,
yeah,
'cause that
I
one's
have
shorter.
not paid attention to either of them because I've been banned from social media.
Good. Me too.
You're not.
And
You're not really missing out on anything, my man.
yeah, my life has been great.
I mean,
You should get banned too.
I agreed. So here's the thing, though. None of these stupid controversies actually affect the enjoyment of the show anyway.
No, it don't.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, but
So
it's
so
kind of
let the
important to
people
address.
agree as much as they want.
Yep. Anyway.
Marty.
So we're talking
Back
about
to the cheer.
yeah, back to the girl with the assets and the plot.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's. Is there any other show that actually? Well, there are a few shows that I don't remember the names, but where you do have this kind of character as well. But like, none of the shows have a girl that actually likes the what's the game that they had on the show? Something like Sane Sleeper Academy for Girls.
Yeah, the doujin.
Young Ladies of Humiliation Club, something debauchery
Yeah.
life or something. Just like this is so.
We haven't
Just-
had an excitable girl.
Yeah,
that
in the
was
wild.
we haven't had an excitable girl that was into something like that in a while. We've had a lot of side characters where like the girl will be like shipping like the two guys and like liking yaoi and stuff like that. Like that's kind of normal. We haven't had the excitable like, oh my god, you need to play this game. Yes, it's porn. You still need to play it. Like
Hey, I would
we
play
have
it.
not seen that, and then like him addressing it like, how did you get this? We're only 15, and she's like, we're 15. Everyone has it. Like,
Well, you kind of have to understand, like, 15 it's very different in Japan.
15
So,
is 16 or 17 in America. There,
Ye-
yeah. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it's still the same idea of just like,
Yeah.
it's still an 18 plus game, and you're playing it. That was kind of the joke of just like, yeah, everyone still has it. Don't.
But people
It-
can understand that happens. I guess in Japan it's more opened.
Yeah.
So
It was
not
very
open,
realistic.
but you know what I mean. Like it's yeah.
So
So
it's a
people
very
kinda,
realistic part that like we all know that 16-year-olds are doing that, but no one wants to address it.
Yeah, the same happens with in the West with kids playing Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto or any other game that's really mature. But
Well-
there are kids as old as young as 13 playing this shit.
I mean, look at going back to Dragon Ball Z before. Like that show had like a pair of what hanging out in one of the Japanese episodes there. I think they cut that thing out from the Western release, but it was there. Not even mentioning the original manga where you had even more innuendos. Well, not innuendos, flat out in the open.
Master Roshi himself is a
Yes.
literal innuendo.
Yes.
Even in his days as Dragon Ball, especially in one of the episodes where he begs Bulma.
Yeah, because it's just it's different cultures. But people are like, oh my god, it's horrible. It's like, who cares? Shut up, enjoy the show.
I think most everybody. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say that it's a certain part, and Master Roshi wants Bulma to show him some certain undergarments because the man is a horny bastard.
Yeah.
In one of the
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're kind of
but
slipping
also
away.
the thing is,
Yeah, let's get back onto the character and how
Let's get back to Marin, the Gyaru. Because that's what she is.
she's
I-
super excitable, and she doesn't like she sees something and she just goes at it, which is also like something that a lot of the cosplay girls that I know around me are very much like, where it's just like, how do you do this? And they're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna throw enough money and time and figure it out on my own. Like, we're gonna get it done. Like, it was like, whenever they were booking the shoot, later in, um, and I won't go into like the full detail of it, so there's less spoilers, but like, it was like, oh yeah, I booked a studio, and then it ended up being not a studio.
the
It ended up being like a hotel, and so
Mhm.
and that's all it was just a hotel. And she's like,
Oh,
yeah,
but
but it had the big bed, so like, I want to take
yes,
photos in the big bed, it'll be perfect for this. So like, but like, she didn't even think of like the consequences. She's just like, yeah, this looks perfect for this. Like, it was
well,
like,
yeah. I mean,
it, they booked the shoot in the abandoned hospital. It was like, yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that I'd be scared of ghosts and all that other stuff, but it looks perfect for the scene that we're trying to recreate. So fuck it, we're going in. Like, that is every single cosplayer I know, which is like, act first, freak out later.
well, I mean, what else are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
I love
I
the
don't
fact
know
that
any cosplayers.
Marin gives zero fucks when it comes to well, Marin gives zero fucks when it comes to shit like this, and she just goes at it, and that's oh man. Not only that, but she's also like ironically, she's a bigger otaku than damn. Like I think she's a bigger weeb than all of us. Like straight up bigger otaku than any of us combined.
She is about
Is that supposed to be a plus or a minus?
No, she. I hate to say this. She is the same level as my fiance. Like, it is.
Bruh.
It is the same level
hey,
of otaku.
someone is a lucky man.
It is the same level, the same attitude, the same level of energy, the same, like, we're gonna go do something, we'll figure it out later. Like, I'm talking from experience. This character is exactly like a lot of the girls that I know from the cosplay community because of my fiance. It's uncanny. It's like, oh, like, how do I sew? Like, that question comes up. So you just buy a sewing machine and you figure it out. Like whenever you're trying to like do the prints to like, do all the cuts for all the fabric. It's just like, I'll watch 1,000 tutorials until I get it right. Like, before this podcast, I'm leveling a 3D printer. I've never touched the 3D printer before. I'm figuring it out. Why? Because I'm making a belt buckle for a character, because it's very hard to make out of like raw materials. So
Yep.
yeah, it's cosplayers are fucking insane. Like, she embodies exactly that attitude.
Yeah. So we've gone a little bit long, so we're gonna have to go straight into the plot.
Plot. Yes.
All right.
A plot.
It always reminds me of another show where it's time for plot.
All right. So I guess we kind of just talk about both of these characters at the same time for this. Basically, Shy Dude is so afraid to like touch this girl half the time. It's just like, oh my god, she's too perfect, she's too hot. Like, how can I even be around her? And she's just like, I don't care, I'll strip naked if you make me into this character.
She did.
Yeah.
And that is essentially what happens for the majority of the show.
Yeah, I mean, one of their first interactions, she starts taking her clothes off, and then goes, "Oh, wait a minute,
you mind
you're
turning
supposed
around?
to turn around." Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, can you be modest? I know I'm not, but can you?"
Calm yourself, woman. Holy shit.
Yep. You can so take me. No. One of the things that like really, really, that I wanted to touch on was how her getting him out of his box made him better at the craft that he cared about. Um, her getting him to go to the beach, hit like and see like more than just like the inside. Him focusing on a different way to like look at clothing. Him focusing on like how delicate like doing makeup on a person is. All of those little small steps made him better at making Hina dolls, and that all combined to like, oh, here's some real life experiences, and then now he's going to be even better at doing his craft because he worked on something else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he really becomes better as a person, like overall. It just him becoming more confident in himself over the course of the show.
Yeah.
And about things, his craft. Oh, sorry, Josh, but I gotta say this.
God.
But also, his craft. It also transferred to the craft because his grandfather Kaoru actually inspects the Hina doll that he's been checking, that he's been making, and he says that he's been improving a lot on his lines.
Yeah.
Not to mention the detail, because the old man actually thought that he was becoming a cross dresser or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah, I liked his grandpa.
Yeah, his grandfather was great. Just like, oh my god, he's been working on these Hina dolls for so long. He's gonna like only like he's gonna try and dress like one. He's gonna like put on lingerie. He's gonna become a crossdresser. Oh, there's a girl involved. Oh, thank fucking god. Like, that was like his response. It's like, oh, he could be like hooking up with this girl. Like, no chance. He's a loser. What are you doing? Working on a costume? Okay, that's fine. Jesus, like it was so
I
funny
mean-
to just watch his grandfather's reaction.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially when he's playing that
But
one
like
game.
it really sets you up like right from the get go to like him.
Mhm.
Because he like the way the way he's kind of encouraging but also you know somewhat stern and like fatherly with him um is is really you know it really makes you think this guy was probably a pretty good dad when he raised his parents,
Yeah,
and he's still basically a pretty good dad raising his grandson.
yeah. It's very much to take the craft seriously because you care about it, but also you should be enjoying your life and like watching his grandfather kind of like put an emphasis on it, and like whenever he was like looking out into the ocean, he was like, my grandfather was telling me I should have been like not just working on Hino dolls this entire time. Maybe he was right. Like, you get so obsessed with something that like just taking a break, taking a fresh air, taking a new perspective helps so much. So like a lot of that translates so well from that show into this.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wish I had a mentor like Kaoru-san,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's. Okay, so since we're already on plot, can we talk about the arc with the two sisters, the Inui sisters, sooner or later?
I mean, they're not that interesting, I'll be honest. Because, like, one is just, 17, but she's a lolly. And the other one is,
13 and she's
like,
yeah.
grown
Yeah,
up, I guess. I don't,
she
Well, she looks
developed
like a
earlier
mom.
than her. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, the 17-year-old looks like the child and the 13-year-old looks like the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
but they're not, as a characters, they're not,
They're not bad.
one of, like, the, she's like a guru cosplayer known as Juju, and her sister is basically like a photographing the whole thing,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it.
In the
Like,
in
you
the
know,
case of Sajuna or Juju, she is very passionate about cosplaying, but to the point where she thought that modding was like she basically tried to gatekeep the absolute shit out of modding when it came to cosplaying because she thought she was a fucking dumbass.
Yeah. It it's
It-
also like, you know, there was a few things that were touched on, which was like it's hard to cosplay whenever you're in middle school because there's absolutely no budget that you can work with. If
Not to
you're
mention your body build.
yeah, and then if your uh sibling is like a famous cosplayer and like doing really well, like do you want to be associated with them? Are you going to be able to be up to the same standard? I know that one of the things with cosplay shoots, and this is extremely true with a lot of them, if one person's costume out of like the four is not up to par with the other three, it brings down the entire like look of all the photos. So it's like trying to stay at that same level with everyone else
yeah,
is
it's
like a
kind of hard to do.
huge, yeah, it's like a huge thing. You have to always be shooting for the top, especially whenever like, you know, there's that giant catch-up gap. It's her sister who's been cosplaying for years and doing a really good job.
I
You
mean,
have Gojo, who is like a professional seamstress level, and then it's like, oh yeah, I want to jump in. It's like that's gonna be a hard jump, you know. So
well, it depends on the cosplay. I mean, if
yeah,
most of these cosplayers do just bikinis, it's like, well, it's not that hard.
yeah,
But good cosplay takes like a lot of resources and a lot of
yes,
time.
hmm
Well, a lot of effort as well, though.
yes,
So,
In the case of Shinju, she what she overlaps in her older sister is the fact that she's a very good photographer to the point where her shots are professional.
mhm.
yeah,
Which I'll be honest with you, when I was her age, I didn't have a camera. I didn't know how to use a fucking camera.
hmm
But then she goes around with a DSLR, but it looks like a Canon or a Nikon.
yeah.
Straight up.
It's a hard jump, and like whenever she's going into a lot of those details and like explaining it, that's not something a 13-year-old would normally know. Like knowing the difference of like how to like set your tones and how to like know your shutter speeds, your f-stop, like all of that stuff's actually
Mhm.
difficult to learn, and it takes photographers for years to learn it. So it was showing a lot of people it's like they have natural talent. It's like, well, if she's that good at photography, why would she even want to start cosplaying? She could be a professional photographer, like very
Mm,
well. And
she wants to be like her
yeah,
older sister,
yeah,
and well, considering her choice of cosplaying is actually more interesting compared to her sister because she basically dressed as someone from the one of the Bishonen from the yeah
yeah,
one of the one of the guys from the series that her sister is a fan of.
Black Labelli, I believe the show is.
No, it was from the no, it was actually from the Magical Girl series. Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Black Lobelia. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They also had like a Maureen was doing like a what is it? It's the mistress, the dark mistress, like Dimitrescu, but more dark. And O'Neill was doing the actual main character from that show. It's like nice trio, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
a
They
very
didn't tell us the plot of that show anyway, so it doesn't matter.
yeah,
All right,
well.
we're
yeah. We're getting to that hour mark.
yep, yep.
Is there anything? I guess because like we've been talking very positive. Does anyone want to talk about any negatives of the show other than? Well, I mean, like we can talk about like how much fan service was in it too, but
I
I mean, it's
I don't know,
positive.
like I mean I like I get the whole like character development of Gojo. I didn't really. I mean, this is just my opinion. It's not like an objective like fault or anything. I just don't like Gojo as a person.
That's fair.
Like I like that kind of character. Always kind of always kind of gets under my. Oh well, you just joined at the end of the podcast.
That was
Uh,
timely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that kind of character kind of gets under my skin, and I also am not a big fan of ecchi. So when you combine that with ecchi, it
Makes sense.
it's not for me.
Let me throw in the one thing that like really bothered me about the show, and then we'll jump into the controversy really quick. The entire thing where we talked about him just burning himself out doing too many things, it didn't end with a lesson. It didn't end with a, oh, you need to take care of yourself, like your work is slipping, oh, you're like, there is so many people that like before cons will push themselves to the like brink of just like, I didn't sleep for 4 days because I needed to get this costume done, and then like their seams are off, like everything's off, like something goes wrong. They didn't touch on that, and he didn't have a learning moment. It was just like a, I got it done, try it on, oh my god, it looks amazing.
That's a bad message.
And then like
That's a
he
horrible
looked like
message.
he was about to pass out, and there should have been like that pass out moment of like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, but it was like, try it on. Oh well, I
Yeah,
guess you're
well, like,
already in it. Let's go do a photo shoot. And it was like,
yeah.
you needed the lesson of calm the fuck down.
Well, it didn't even have to be like, oh, his the outfit was bad, like ruined or
Yeah.
something. It could have been like, oh, he failed his exams
Yeah.
because that was happening at the same time.
Yeah. Or just like something bad happened and he learned his lesson from it. Even if it's just like he passes out from exhaustion and gets sick for 3 days. That would have been perfect.
There was also the fact that, he didn't take into consideration Martin when it came to some of the, some of the textures being a lot heavier in comparison
Yeah.
because she was suffocating.
Yeah, well, that was from like, that was more he learned, that didn't teach him about like learning to pace yourself. That just taught him, oh shit, I need to work on a human, and then like he considered that moving forward. So like that was a moment where you learn as a cosplayer, like, oh shit, like this fabric isn't gonna work well in these conditions. Like that's just something that like a lot of cosplayers learn, is like, oh shit, I'm going to a con in the winter, I need to wear something a little warmer or I'm gonna freeze, especially for an outdoor shoot. Like, oh, like I shouldn't be doing this at this con, I need to do it at this con. Like that's so typical that like that would be the beginner mistake. That would be the first timer's mistake. But later in, you slowly learn those things. I'm saying like a very big character moment that he could have learned from, where like they emphasized, oh shit, this is gonna be a huge issue, and then it was just kind of like tossed away.
Yeah.
There was a couple moments where like it was, here's a learning moment, and it was kind of tossed away.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're running long on time, and
Yeah.
we still haven't talked about the controversy yet. So
So the first one, and like we'll talk about the minor one first.
and be brief about them.
Yes, the first one, because she's 15 in the show. There was a nude, like fully nude, figurine that came out of her.
The fuck?
Of her.
Official?
yeah,
Yeah, official.
It
So
was.
it was. So
What?
it was her. So she had her bikini one, and then
Mhm.
they sold a limited run, not safe for work version of that same one where she was fully naked. And because she's 15, people completely lost their crap because it was an official one.
I implore people to go to Sengaku Complex and look her up as well.
Yeah, so
Just
so
just
that
come on.
was that was the
Who
first
cares?
one, and because it was official. The second one, and this is where it's gonna get a little harder to talk about. It was the episode where she toned out her skin so that she looked tan. The American cosplay community went up in arms and said, "This is blackface." Um, whenever
I don't think the Japanese even know what that is.
No, they don't.
I don't think
The
they
Japanese,
care.
the Japanese have no idea. Like,
I
and
like
some might,
The-
but like for the most part, they don't know what
They
Nope.
blackface
don't give a
is
shit.
over
Yeah,
there.
I think
So, like
I,
basically,
I think these people don't understand that like most Japanese people will go most of their lives without ever even seeing a black person in person.
90.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I remember right, just population-wise, 98% of Japan is Japanese.
Yeah.
It's a homogeneous
Actually, probably
society.
more at this point.
1% is Asian, a 0.5%, like other Asian, a 0.5% is white, and
Mhm.
then everyone else is less than 0.5%. So the chance of them running into anyone, like if you had 2,000 people in Japan, the chance of running into like someone that was black would be 1 out of those 2,000, maybe. Like it is so rare. So like they don't know what blackface is because it's not part of their culture. So there's that. And then also she said I didn't have enough time to tan, and then just put on makeup that would have matched her if she was tanning. So it falls into these very narrow kind of limiting things. So yeah, that's the big controversy. A lot of people are calling the show racist. A lot of people are going
I mean,
after Funimation for hosting a show that is racist.
Uh,
But it is
Josh.
something that needs to be addressed that
Look.
that's happening.
Look, the creator of the show basically said, like, it's not my fault that you Americans obsessed about,
Race.
well,
Yeah,
no,
well,
I'm
other things.
making it.
There's a quote, and I don't really want to say it because
Yeah,
because
no,
it
play
was
safe.
it also
YouTube
translates
and you
bad
can't,
from Japan into English,
Mhm.
Japanese to English because
But
that
she
word
said,
means four
but she
things.
said that word as opposed to
yeah.
not in Japanese but in English. So that's that's
Yeah,
why.
no.
And
I
look,
haven't watched the show, but I was gonna say, yeah, direct translation of Asian
Oh, sir.
to Western language is usually ends badly.
Yeah.
well, yeah, but then again, we also have Kojima making his games. You know.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
hold
but
up.
look, reality is they don't care. Nobody cares. It's not a blackface. Just stop.
If anything, the tan is a Yankee stereotype over in Japan. If they want to look American, they try to look like a fucking Beverly Hills bimbo, like those '70s women that were like
Yeah.
groupies
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like, hair metal bands. Yeah,
Mhm.
fake tan skin.
Yeah. So and just to kind of like finish this topic, in
Lewis wants to chime in
Japan,
as well.
they also do this regularly for cosplay.
Yeah.
In Russia, they do this regularly for
Mhm.
cosplay.
Yep.
Even
I
worse.
can confirm.
But for the most part in Japan, it's mostly them just trying to get tanner. It's not them like fully painting their skin. It's not them doing anything like that. It's just I'm cosplaying a character that's a little darker than me. I'm gonna go to the tanning booth 2 times a week for the next month for a convention that's coming up so that I can be ready for the shoot. That is so normal that it's just that's what happens. And I know cosplayers will even go after those people. I know that there was a girl that was partly Egyptian, and the cosplay community went after her because she was cosplaying a character that was darker skinned during the summer. and literally like she posted photos of like her childhood showing like that she would change like skin tones all the time because summer
I know that
versus
feel.
winter is just a completely different skin tone for her. And like this is becoming so much of an issue in the cosplay community that they don't understand how skin works half the time. And there is a very big distinction between someone doing blackface and it being offensive, someone doing blackface and it kind of not, but also you can see that it's culturally insensitive, and someone just tanning. And that's where we're getting into like whenever you're fighting
Well,
the person that's just tanning, you're so far
there,
off the point.
there was a guy
Yeah.
from INN, and I'm gonna call the I don't remember the guy's name, but
Before,
he
hey,
wrote
Echo, before,
the
I'm sorry,
review
really
on the
quick.
whole thing.
Before you go, Lewis,
And
what you want to say? Lewis has been
yeah,
waiting
go
for like
ahead.
15 minutes.
Can I please have my own take about this issue real quick?
Go
I'm gonna
on.
be
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead. Just
As the resident brown man, a
Yeah.
Puerto Rican right here, I will say, you can cosplay as whatever the fuck you want. That was the point of cosplaying, right? You're supposed to be disguising yourself as somebody or something from another race, or anything else. I mean, seriously, if you're listening to me, you have full permission to cosplay as a brown person or a tan person. I give you my full support. Because that's what it's supposed to be. Cosplay is not supposed to be real. I mean, in the case of, well, in the bonus of things. Honestly, the reason why these people who got offended clearly have never been to either a neighborhood that is full of Puerto Ricans, full of Latino people, full of Asians from other skin tones like Filipinos, or Vietnamese. No,
Well,
no,
yeah,
sorry,
they're suburbanites. They're the most protected, self-centered, childish adults I've ever met. And I'm from a quote unquote, according to them, a shithole from the Middle East. So yeah, no, that's to be expected. They're suburban idiots from the coastal cities. Just you can't expect them to be educated at all. Like I've met trailer park rednecks who are more intelligent than them and educated than them.
I
So
mean, they
yeah,
usually are because they can fix the fucking cars. These morons can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
But
it's
there's a guy who people probably just Google him. So he had a video. He's the guy who reviewed the show for INN. He went ballistic on the show because of it. And you're like, well, first of all, you're a moron. Second of all, you have no idea. Like, and people who can look up his own cosplays, they're shit. And those are the people who criticizing this show. You got a mangaka who went out of her fucking way to look up not all but most aspects of cosplay and properly implement them in in manga and in the show via script. And you fuckers complaining that somehow you have this for normal things that you fuckers will do anyway. So what are you even bitching about?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Like,
So yeah,
those
yeah,
characters are meant to be cosplayed.
Yeah.
Like they're to ridiculous degrees. Remember Kill La Kill? The reason why that show had that cosplay is because the creators of the show said, "Well, can they actually do it?"
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah.
You got dudes cosplaying that stuff. You got chicks cosplaying that. All of these characters. Who cares? Let people have fun.
Yeah.
But you can't because you bunch of fucking morons and killjoys.
Yeah.
Fuck
All
them.
right.
So yeah,
Let's
that's the
wrap this
controversy.
up.
All right. So, but yeah, it was important to talk about because it was very talked about for the show. So
I hope
There we go.
Funimation pretends to care and then ignores them. That's the one thing I support about corporations. They don't care, even if they say we're really sorry. They don't care. Like
Yeah,
fuck
no,
off. You're just a bunch of dollar signs.
Corporations are not your friend. That's a fact.
anyway,
All right.
all right.
Anyway,
So
let's get
all right.
to
yeah,
wrap up.
So I usually start it off. So
Sorry.
for this show, like I enjoyed the hell out of it. it's a little bit more biased because for me, whenever I started cosplaying, I had a friend that was just as eccentric as her. She was the one that helped me make my first cosplay. I cosplayed Neji from Naruto, ship it in like that version. Um, like we all got together, we were making it, we were watching the animes like that we were like gonna cosplay from, like as a group. I was learning how to sew, I was learning how to do everything. Um, getting as much into the character, looking up as much of the character as possible, like helping make these blueprints, going out shopping. Like all of those steps that were in the show were just so real to me. It was like it was exactly what my first time cosplaying was. And my first event, whenever you went and you're like, wow, that's that guy from that show. That like all of those small things were so perfect. She encapsulated it so well whenever she wrote the manga, and it translated well into the show. And those moments were really good. There were a lot of parts I didn't like about the show. Yes, it's an ecchi. I enjoy ecchi a little bit more too, so like there's that bias too. I could tell the animation quality wasn't up to the perfect level. The voice acting, there was some issues, especially since they're new actors, but I can see potential, especially in the English version, for them to like become better actors. But right now, it's a little flat. I had an issue with like how she talked too. So like there's all these small issues, but like it just brought a nostalgia that I didn't think I still had, and that was kind of cool. So like if I'm just gonna talk on a technical level, I'm giving the show a 7 because that's what the show deserves, even though I enjoyed the show more than that score. And that's what I really want to say. If you really enjoy cosplay, if you really enjoy that space, if you really enjoy that, you're going to relate to the show super well. But there was a lot of small issues that I can't just give a show a good score just because I relate to it well. I have to look at the show objectively too. And that's why I'm giving it a 7.
Echo.
Oh, me. I mean, I gave it an 8. There are problems. Mainly, they would have to make a lot more in the second season. Like for story and stuff, they have to make up a lot of that stuff. I think they wasted one or two episodes in the middle when they were the clinic scene. Animation, obviously, flat hands are like in an episode 9 or 10. That's like, oof, that's really bad. But other than that, I mean, I can't complain. I enjoy it. So, want a second season as well.
Striker.
I enjoyed this show a lot more than I expected, and the details were when I was doing my research on this anime were more than I could ever bargain for. Especially when it came to the mangaka herself, who was also a cosplayer. The reason why the manga was even a thing was because she wanted to quote unquote empower people to be more into cosplay. As a matter of fact, her boyfriend at the time was actually going to break up with her because she was a cosplayer.
Oh.
And the man can cope. And the thing is, otaku. The term otaku is still a looked down term in Japan, even more so. Even so in modern Japan. Honestly, plot works. I wanna ask you something. For the love of Jesus, for the love of every entity out here, don't fuck up the second season like you did promise to Neverland. For the love of Christ, don't fuck it up this time, Cool Works. They're also working on the Spy Family manga. Don't fuck this one up either. So first things first. Was this show worth the fucking hype? I want to ask you guys that. This was my suggestion because I've been seeing my feed this girl on my feed for the last couple of weeks, and a lot of people were saying it was good. But is the show really worth the hype?
Oh yeah.
Honestly,
Eh,
For the cosplay community, yes. For everyone else, I don't think so, but yes.
it might. Okay. Yes. It is worth the hype. This is a solid 8, actually. This is a solid 8 of an anime. And well, you know what? You know what they say. Seasonal waifus come and go, but style is eternal. Well,
all right. With me, I don't know much about cosplay. I don't go to conventions, nor do I have interests in them. I don't buy memorabilia or like figurines or anything. I know nothing about photo shoots or sewing or making clothing or Hina dolls. So this show covered a lot of stuff that I just don't really I just don't really have much interest in. Um and so for that that in and of itself isn't like it's not like something that's a mark against the show or anything, but it is something that's like it's kind of hard to like for the show to like hold my interest when that's the kind of stuff it's talking about. Um, the story was fine. Uh, the characters were fine. Um, I'm really not big into ecchi. I don't really like that kind of stuff.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, praise the Lord, dude. But anyway, uh, as far as like as far as that, I'm not really keen on this show. But it's well constructed. It's not like it had like any like huge pitfalls or anything. You hear over an hour of us basically praising it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I give it like 7.5. It's all right.
okay.
Alright,
All
that
right.
brings the average to 7.625. So 7.6. Yeah. Um, I was really rating it as like if you weren't interested in everything, like how it was and like all the technical things. So I'm just throwing that out there that like I would suggest this to the right people, and I think that that's
Yeah.
kind of where that lands. I know that I have a feeling that the mouse score is going to be fucking way higher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
8.4.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it deserves it.
Yeah.
Does that mean we're a balanced group of people?
Well,
I
we
think
got
I think that the thing is, and again, this goes into like the specialty kind of shows. Um, the majority of people on Mao are going to be American. They're going to be cosplayers that are like always going to conventions. There's not going to be there's not many people like Will who are super in the anime that have zero interest in going not going to a convention.
I'm just some. I mean, I'm just some dude from some backwater city, who just happened to watch anime growing up.
Yeah. And then like for me, it's like I always loved going to conventions. Like that's what got me more into it was my friend took me to like this anime convention, and then I was just fell in love, and then I started cosplaying, and it was just this huge thing for me. So like this was so relatable, but I saw the failings of the show, and there was a lot of moments where like I just stopped caring, but I cared more about like the bigger plot points than I cared about like the characters. And I think that that's a failing of the show in my eyes. But yeah, that should wrap it up.
Yeah. I hope everyone has. Ugh. I hope everyone has had a good March. I hope April is just as good for you. And thank you for watching. You all have a good night.
See ya.
Good night.